Happy day, uh, first day of Tabernacle. All right. Like always, we are going to start in Leviticus 23. Before that, we want to make sure we always give honor to the Most High God, the great God that keepeth covenants and mercies for them that love him and observe his commandments. And then to his Son, who is our Savior, our King, our Prince, our High Priest, our true Master Teacher, who the Most High used to reconcile us back to himself. Then everybody that's with us, elders, mothers, brothers, sisters, children, those that will be joining us online, all the partakers of the heavenly calling, we thank God for each and every one of you. So we will start in Leviticus chapter 23, right? Leviticus chapter 23. Leviticus 23, Leviticus 23. Um, we're gonna today we're gonna kind of focus on how it came about, right? What it's dealing with. So we're gonna start Leviticus 23 and verse. Let's start 1 and 2, and then we'll 1, 2, and 4, and then we'll jump down to verse 33.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feast.
So once again, we go here to show that what? These are the Lord's feast, right? These are not our feast. These are the Lord's feast, right? Read verse 4.
These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Right. And when we're doing it is very important, right? In its season. Okay. Now, there are brothers and sisters that sometimes it might vary by, few weeks, and that's depending on, what moon they go by and things that when they started their new year, all those kind of things. All right. However, we don't really get in no kind of debate with that because, like I said, as long as you're trying to do it within the season. All right. But if you have things like Passover in the middle, of winter right now, I don't know what season you're going with. All right. So as long as you're getting according to the scripture that's close as you can, that's what's most important. All right. Let's jump down to verse 33. Let's jump down to verse 33.
And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be at the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahweh.
All right. So once again, the Lord speaking to Moses, right? The 15th day of the 7th month. All right. Remember this is this month got 3, right? The first day was you can call it new moon, but also it's called what? The memorial of blowing of the trumpets was 7th day, first month. And then a couple days ago, right? The 10th day, right? That was the atonement. And now we're on the 15th day. All right. So we got, seems like this month is a little busy. Okay. So the 15th day shall be the feast of tabernacles. And it says what? For 7 days unto the Lord. We're going to see it's really going to be another day as well, but we'll probably get to that later. All right. Well, never mind. Keep reading.
On the first day shall be an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
We have to pay attention. Remember, beloved, even though this is a feast for 7 days, that does not mean that you do not have to work for 7 days. All right. This is why we have to make sure, because some people say we can't do feast, we can't take off all those days and things of that nature because they haven't read these things. All right. It says the first day shall be what? A holy convocation, a holy gathering. Ye shall do no servile work therein. So, like always, we'll try to take off. All right. Not every holy day or holiday you need to take off, just the ones that's it tells us to. Okay. And the reason for that is because the Most High, want us to be able to be relaxed, be focused on Him, and not have to worry about things. All right. So we have that. So the first day be a holy convocation, a holy gathering, and we should do no work therein. Next verse 36.
7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh.
Mhm.
On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right. So 7 days we'll offer the offer made by fire. Remember, we still had the temple and things when this was being illustrated. We do not literally have to make the offerings of fire, but spiritually we still make offerings every day. All right. Whatever that's looking like, whether you're reading, whether you're throwing up prayer, songs, all those things is attributed as offerings. All right. So we still will do that daily. And now it says what? On the 8th day. So even though this said a seventh day, right? A feast for 7 days. Now, verse 36, you see what? We do something on the 8th day. All right. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you. So we will gather again on the 8th day. All right. So the first day and the next Wednesday night, right? That will be the 8th day. Okay. So, I'm sorry. Ye shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. Is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no work therein. Okay. So you see how the scripture specified the first day, holy convocation, no work. The 8th day, holy convocation, no work. Between that time, you're good. You can work, you can do your thing and still observe the feast. All right. Besides when it falls like on the Sabbath, you still keep the Sabbath like the Sabbath. All right. Keep reading. Verse 37.
These are the feasts of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Yahweh, a burnt offering, and a meat offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, everything upon his day.
So just a little side note. Remember what Paul talking about, it's in meat offerings and drink offerings and things of that nature. We were doing these things and it was attributing to how we will offer to our God. Okay. So we'll do certain offerings that we'll give. Even when you go to Hebrews, he talks about it again, right? The first coming dealing with the offerings, with the meat and drink offering, things of that nature. All right. So just so if you've never seen it before. All right. So everyone upon its day, all right, at its appointed time, you will do some of these things. Verse 38.
Beside the Sabbath of Yahweh, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
All right, so reinforcing it. Okay, that's why we got to keep reading because you're like, oh, it's just 7 days. What are you doing this 8th day? Because you keep reading. All right. So you see the first day and the 8th day, and once again, we will come. This will be a gathering, and we're bringing what? The fruit of the land. So just like in the beginning of the year, right, when we were doing first fruits and things, right, you'll bring the first fruits. All right. So that first harvest, that's what the Lord was getting. Now with this one, they will call this. What's the other name for end gathering? Is it end gathering?
And gathering.
Yeah, end gathering, right? So this is kind of where some of the fruits is being developed. They're kind of fully grown. You're picking them everything, and the Most High is getting that. So he's reaping kind of both, right? The first of it, and also when it's getting when these things is kind of come about. All right. So this is why you need to understand the season, right? Because if you try to do this in the dead of winter, it ain't gonna make sense. You ain't gonna have nothing. The things that they're asking that we're offering, right? So you're gonna see that first fruits is going to be what? In the beginning of that season when things are growing, because you give them the first fruits. You get too early, nothing's going to be there, right? You get too late, things already came about. So you can judge how he's doing this according to the year and according to agriculture. Okay. So this is why you have to understand we don't go with man's calendar and things of that nature because it will affect us, right? Because the first of the month we doing, those things and Pentecost and first fruits coming up, you didn't even, you might be just trying to throw seeds in the ground. You ain't gonna have nothing to reap. See, that won't fit. Okay, so this is why it's so important to make sure we're looking at things through our cultural perspective, okay, and not looking at this culture because it can mess us up, right? Those times be very important. All right, that's verse 39. So, and that there. Let's go to 11. I got too many things on my screen. Deuteronomy 16. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 16. Deuteronomy 16, and we're going to go to verse 13. Deuteronomy 16, and we're going to go to verse 13.
Thou shalt observe the feast of tabernacle 7 days. After that, thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine.
All right. So we shall observe it, right? And once again, it's saying 7 days, but we understand, right? He did say 7 days, but we know it's going to be still extra day added. Thou shalt observe it for 7 days. All right. So, and it says, after that, thou hast gathered in what? Thy corn and thy wine. All right. Thy corn and thy wine. Yes, this is talking about literal wine. You got sometimes people thinking they're being holy. Oh, you never, the wine that they were doing was different. You just, no. All right. This is wine. Yes, they will bring wine. Okay. There's no problem with drinking wine. It's what? Not having mastery over it. Okay. If you drink and you got to get drunk every time, then no, you need to stay away from it. All right. But wine alone is not a sin. Okay. Or the Most High will be telling you to do sin, which I don't think anybody that foolish to go and say. All right. Let's keep going.
And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son and thy daughter, and thy manservant and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates.
So when we done with this, right, it's still talking about the feast of tabernacle, right? You don't see the period there. And also after thou gather the corn of wine, and thou shalt rejoice in thy feast. Very important, right? Because a lot of people think it, I tell you all the time, people think because I show up, I'm good. I did it, right? Just because I show up in the gathering for the Sabbath, I'm keeping it holy. No, you have to do everything that it's talking about. So to keep the feast, right, of tabernacle, you have to be what? In the right spirit. You're supposed to what? Rejoice in the feast. If you miserable, all this stuff, oh my God, I got to do this inconvenience, you are not keeping the feast. Might as well do what you was going to do because you're not keeping it. Okay? The power is the spirit of what you do it in, the intent of why you're doing it. If you be willing and obedient, like Isaiah chapter 1 talks about. All right? Willing and obedient. Willing is a spirit. All right? I want to do this. I look forward to do this. Okay? And obedient is doing it how the scriptures tell you to do it. All right? So we have to make sure we are focused on that willing and obedient. If thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, who's going to do it? Thou, that's you, and thy son. If you have a daughter, if you have a manservant, you have a maidservant, right? Everybody that's in your house that you have to, everybody be able to enjoy it. Okay? So people who's working for you and everything, they'll enjoy the feast. They just you and your house, your immediate family, your husband, wife, and kids. No, there you have people, maidservants, they can enjoy it as well. The Levites supposed to be enjoying and rejoicing in the feast. The stranger and the fatherless and the widows that are within thy gates. So when we understand our God, he does take care and think about all, okay? No matter what kind of social status you're at, the Most High wants everybody to rejoice in this. So he has something even in plan to help the stranger, okay, the fatherless, right, and the widow. Okay, so don't feel like, oh well, the stranger, I'm not a part of this. I don't feel I don't got maybe some of the finances, some of the ones that's been here for a while. I'm just kind of getting into this thing. No, you enjoy it as well. This is for you to enjoy as well. The fatherless, absolutely, and the widow. And they point out these things because these are usually the ones in society that get overlooked. Okay. They get overlooked. And sometimes society will worry about, well, we have to worry about them, right? These are the ones that's contributing to society doing these things. So it's about them. No, the Most High is saying, I want everybody right? Everybody to be off, everybody to enjoy, everybody to rejoice, okay? But it's because it's about the goodness of our God, all right? Let's keep reading verse 15.
7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh thy God, in the place which Yahweh shall choose, because Yahweh thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and in all thy works of thine hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice.
And and this is why I say it's an understanding, all right? It's truly an understanding. When they look at the feet, they look, oh, it was keeping you in bondage. You don't know what you talking about. That's why I know people ain't reading. You don't know what you talking about. Listen to what he says. 7 days thou shalt keep a solemn feast unto Yahweh thy God in the place which the Lord shall choose. All right. We will have to do this at a certain spot, right? Definitely like Jerusalem, we have our temple, all that kind of stuff, right? You have to be there. Because Yahweh thy God, listen, this is why you're going to do it. Because Yahweh thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase and in all the works of thine hand. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. Why are we happy? Why are we rejoicing? He's saying because we know that the Most High is going to bless our increase, our profit. He's going to bless our hands in what we're doing. Therefore, we should rejoice in that because we're receiving the blessing of God. This is what this day is dealing with. Is there bondage in this? Is this death? Rejoicing and talking about how God is gonna bless you and thinking about the goodness of the Lord, that's a problem? You see how foolish it is when you start to actually read what the Bible is saying instead of hearing what people are saying? Okay? Verse 16.
3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before Yahweh thy God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles.
All right.
And they shall not appear before Yahweh empty.
All right. So 3 times in a year we will gather. Remember, we all sometimes be in place, sometimes we're scattered. So we will come. These be those times will come. All right. Just like you see heathens, they'll have their holidays, right? And certain holidays they'll come all over to go to grandma. Get that same thing from us. All right. We were doing that. We'll come all over and we'll come to Jerusalem. It'll be like a good gathering of the family. Okay. We're just doing it what? According to righteousness, right? Our days all according to the Most High. So we look at this 3 times in a year, all right? And these were the 3 major, these are the only time, but these are the 3 major ones, right? Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? That's during what? That Passover time, okay? The Feast of Weeks, that's Pentecost, right? 7 weeks, 50 days, right? Pentecost. And then the Feast of Tabernacle, all right? The last one, okay? So that will kind of give you the whole kind of almost the harvest season, right? You got the beginning where you plant it, that'll be during that Passover time. And then your reaping is around that Pentecost time where stuff is starting to reap and getting those first fruits. And then you got now at the end where what? This stuff is, you're getting the fullness of the harvest. All right. So you giving, these are times, think about how wise Most High. He has the times where you're reaping. Okay. Because if let's say you're planning or doing certain things, you might not have nothing to reap. So it'll be kind of foolish to even tell you, yeah, come, you didn't reap nothing yet. So he did around the time that we were reaping, I'll say agricultural wise, right? And, deal with the weather, a lot of things, businesses, function well during, certain seasons. Okay. So he's saying now you go and bring that stuff to the feast. Thou shalt not appear before the Lord empty. All right. Bring something. You see how he did in this one? He's not specified. Bring something. Okay. If you got a dime, put a dime in there. If you got 10,000, you can put 10,000 there, right? It's just bringing something. All right. Don't appear before the Lord empty. All right. Important part about this. Verse 17. Verse 17.
Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing of Yahweh thy God, which he hath given thee.
And this is the beauty thing about the Most High. All right. The preachers, these fake ones, they try to rob you and everything. He's saying, don't come before me empty. Every man shall give as he is able. So what he do? He threw it back in our court. So it's according to you how you want to give on these days. All right. You give what you what you have. All right. According, listen what he's saying, how you give, according to the blessing of the Lord thy God, which he have given thee. All right. So if the Lord bless you with a lot this season, what happened? You'll give a lot to him. If he bless you with a little bit, you just give a little to him. Okay. So he's saying, give back to how you got, because it's not really about the giving, if you can catch it, beloved, right? It's understanding where it came from. He's doing these carnal things so you can understand the spiritual depth by it. I'm receiving this of the Lord, and I'm giving him understanding that you have provided me with this. You have blessed me with this. See, some people don't understand when tithes, all that kind of stuff. They go, oh, I'm just losing. It's an understanding behind it. You are understanding that the Lord has given you this, so you're giving these things back. And I think it's actually another verse where he talks about it, right? He bless you, so you just giving a little appreciation back. That's all it is, appreciation, right? Lord, you bless me with all these crops because you had to provide the rain. You had to provide all this stuff. I understand that. So it's easy. It's a light thing for me to give you something back. That's what a lot of these offering things are, all right? It's not what you're seeing on TV and they making a mockery and trying to take all your money and you be broke. Nah, that's not what the Lord is doing, all right? Also, this was money and stuff that were in food and stuff. They're giving this, right? So we can all what? Enjoy the feast. Because some people might not have money. Say, you know what, I don't got, I don't got, money and everything. So, I can't really contribute to it. Don't worry. Come. All right. Because for somebody struggling, the Lord has blessed somebody on the other hand. Enjoy the feast. The Most High wants us to all enjoy it. So there's no excuse about, well, I didn't have it. The Most High will provide. All right. So rejoice in that. Okay. All right. Let's go to Genesis chapter 33. Genesis 33, and we're going to go to this verse, maybe verse 17. So if you don't know, we call the Feast of Tabernacle. Also, if you're dealing with some Jewish people, you might hear like Sukkah. They might spell it, I think they might spell like Sukkot, or Sukkah. We'll see where how we can put it as well. All right. So they'll call like the Feast of Sukkah. So it's just Tabernacle. It's another phrase they're using it with. Okay. Nothing wrong with naming it that. Okay. But I want to show you what it's about. All right. So verse 17, let's see what the name came about.
And Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built him an house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore, the name of the place is called Succoth.
All right. So there's a place called Succoth because what? Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built him a house and made what? Booths for his cattle. Okay. So Succoth is dealing, like when you think about tabernacle, you think about building something, right? A tent or a dwelling place. That's Succoth. All right. That's the word used for it. All right. So like you'll see with a lot of things, our forefathers will do something in a certain area and they'll name that area off of something that's good, right? So like Jacob, I think when he wrestled, said wrestled with the angel, whatever, and I think the place is like Peniel. I think his place is called Peniel. It's like I seen God face to face and preserve me, something like that, right? So you'll see a lot of times we'll name certain places. So if you ever do history stuff, certain books might not honor it as that name. If you're looking at let's say if you look at an Egyptian one, they might not call it the same thing we might have called it, right? Because it depends on how their writers and how they're doing things. All right. So that's just a fun fact if you're all into history and everything. All right. So the place Succoth. Now let's go to Exodus chapter 12. Okay. So we see Jacob. This is in Genesis. Jacob do this on that place Succoth. This is why we called it that. Exodus 12 and verse 35, Exodus chapter 12, and let's jump down to verse 35. All right. So this is when we're leaving Egypt. Okay, we're leaving Egypt. Right.
And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. so that they lent unto them such things as they required, and they spoiled the Egyptians.
Yes. Yes, we did. Next verse.
And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot that were men, besides children.
All right, so you see now you see the place where they talk about Ramses to Succoth, so you can put together that's the spot where Jacob was at. Right. All right. Just wanted to show that. Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 8. Nehemiah chapter 8. So you see where the name come from. So somebody saying Succoth, you don't have to argue with nobody with that because it can be called that. What book I said? Nehemiah. Sorry. Nehemiah chapter 8. Okay. And let's read verse 1 and 2. Nehemiah chapter 8. And let's read verse 1 and 2.
And all the people gathered themselves together as one man into the street that was before the water gate. And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which Yahweh had commanded to Israel.
All right, read.
And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month.
All right, so this is the first day of the 7th month. Today we're dealing with the 15th, but this was the 7th month, the first day. So this will be the feast of the memorial blowing trumpets. All right. So the memorial blowing of the trumpets is the 7th day, first month, which we did, right? So this is happening on that day. Okay. So he's bringing everybody together. Right, again, it's a gathering, right? And he's using that time to do what? He brought forth the law. Okay. And he started what? Giving understanding to all that were there, give them understanding of what's being read through the law. Okay. And this was something we would do. It wasn't like nowadays we kind of bounce here, there, everywhere, right? A lot of times our forefathers just open it up and just read, kind of just read the law, right? That was kind of their thing. Go there, just read the law. We kind of got little, the spirit kind of moved this generation a little differently. We got a lot more as well. Scriptures, they just had limited stuff where they were at, but we move and capture and put all these things together just so we can see sometimes a more colorful picture as well. All right, read verse 3.
He read therein before the street that was before the water gate from the morning unto midday, before the men and the women, and those that could understand, and the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
So y'all see that, beloved? I don't hold y'all that long. So all right, but they doing what? They was from the water gate. They reading from morning until midday. All right, so that could be a few hours. Okay, I know I sometimes give y'all like 2 hours, sometimes 2.5. All right, but they would just read. Okay, so they had everybody there in the ears. Listen, and those that could understand. All right, listen, and the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law. Okay, so they wanted to hear, because all the time people ain't attentive to this book. They can't wait till it's like, oh, I can't wait till this thing get over, right? But they were attentive to it. All right, because the Most High was stirring up their spirit to serve them. So when you got people that want to hear this word of God and things of that nature, it's a good spirit to have. Because everybody don't have. Me and Brother Kai was talking about that earlier this week. Like, man, people don't want this stuff no more. All right, they don't want this truth. Okay. But we know there's a lot of sincere people that do as well, right? But just going out, at least back then, people would like to hear certain, just enlighten themselves, learn something, This generation get more and more comfortable with just not knowing, don't care. Okay. But the Most High is stirring up certain spirits, right? For them to come back to him. Okay. Those are the ones that's going to be attentive when the book is open. Okay. Let's jump down to verse 8.
So they read in the book in the law of God distinctively, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading.
And this is the same thing, beloved. And know the Spirit teaches us, beloved. The same thing we still do today. They read the book of the law of God distinctively, and listen, and gave the sense. So this is when we read, you see a lot of times I read something, then I'm kind of breaking it down sometimes so we can understand it. All right. Some of y'all can just understand from the reading, but this kind of concept is not something new. You're not adding when you're giving sense to it. Okay. So reading the book, give the sense, give the understanding, and what? And cause them to understand the reading. All right. So this is still appropriate for teachers and priests and everything to do the same thing. Read it, give the sense, all right, not give their thoughts on things. Give the sense, give the understanding what the scripture is saying in the context, and what? Give the understanding, cause them to understand the reading. Oh, okay, now I didn't understand it. Oh, I got you now, right? So it's okay if you don't get everything when you read it. This is why the Most High has certain things in place, all right, to help us with understanding. All right. Let's jump down to verse. Nope, while we're here, just read verse 9 as well. Read verse 9.
Nehemiah, which is the Shirtha, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people, said unto all the people, this day is holy unto Yahweh your God. Mourn not, nor weep. For all the people wept when they heard the words of the law.
So you read it. This is when you're doing with sincerity, right? You read some of this stuff and you be like, wow. You start reflecting on your life. This is the thing. You look at your life, right? You look at it like, wow, I'm supposed to be doing this. Like I'm doing so many things wrong. God wanted me to do this, and look at what I'm doing. They didn't blame nobody. They're not pointing the fingers. They're not doing all this stuff. What did they start doing? They started weeping and mourning, realizing their shortcoming. This is why when we're reading, I don't want to come with the style, because you do have that style, people, and not saying people are wrong and everything, but sometimes teachers feel like they have to go and tell people they're going to hell and this and this and this and that, and all these scare tactics. I get what you're doing with that. However, right, the point of it is I want people to understand what thus saith the Lord. Your spirit's going to dictate how you take that, right? Not going to scare you into it, right? If you only serve them through fear, and that's strictly, I'm just scared and everything, when something presents itself scarier, what are you going to do? You're going to jump to that. I'd rather you understand these things and understand the goodness of the Lord and his power, what he's doing, and be compelled to serve him through that. This is trying to keep scaring you with everything. Okay? So once again, they started weeping and mourning when they heard the word of the Lord. All right? Because some things like, wow, man, I've been doing so, man, I've been off, and oh my goodness, right? And they hurt. Okay, but listen to what's happening. Listen to this part, all right? Because even though this is applying to that, this happening during that feast, this applies for all of them. Okay, read verse 10. Read that slow for everybody.
Then he said unto them, go your way, eat the fat, and drink the sweet, and send portions unto them for whom nothing is prepared. For this day is holy unto our Lord. Neither be ye sorry, for the joy of Yahweh is your strength.
Heard that a lot of time in church. The joy of the Lord is your strength, right? Probably never knew where it was at, and he probably never read the full thing. But y'all know this famous verse they use is on a day they always try to destroy, feast day. All right, but they quote it. You ask the average person, where did they get that from? Why did he say the joy of the Lord is your strength? Because the joy of the Lord is your strength. But why is he telling them that? Because they were mourning. They didn't understand on these holy days, it's not about mourning. Okay? It's about, you can reflect now, but it's not, the point of this is not to put them in mourning. He said, go your way, eat the fat, drink the sweet, all right? And then what? Send portions to them for whom nothing is prepared, all right? Or people that can't afford it. This feast is what? So we can all rejoice. He's thinking about everybody. So don't let somebody saying, oh, I don't have enough, or I don't got this. Well, I guess I'm just going to go, I'm going to stay in the corner, go in my house and try to, no, you're going to eat good, eat like a king, eat like a queen, all right? This day is for everybody. We have enough, okay? This is what it's supposed to be for. For this day, listen, is holy. See what he's saying? This day is holy unto our Lord. Because this day is holy, neither be ye sorry. All right. So we understand when we get into, definitely when we get to the futuristic things, right? It's just going to be righteousness and holiness. They're going to be worrying about tears and crying and stuff like that. No. When you're in the presence of God, all those kind of things, no, you're not going to have that. Okay. So neither be ye sorry, because the day is holy. For what? For the joy of the Lord is your strength. This day is about what? Strength in the Lord. All right. So he wants you to be joyous. All right. Joy and rejoicing is our strength. That is true. Okay. So you think about that, beloved. If you understand the joy of the Lord is your strength, what do you think is one of the devices of Satan? To get you what? Away from joy, from happiness, right? Because the more I get the saints away from joy and happiness, what are they going to be dealing with? Depression, anxiety, all those kind of things. See, Satan wants you in that. He wants you relevant in that because what? You're not getting the joy from the Lord. Okay? So remember, beloved, we want to always press to the joy of the Lord. No matter what the situation is, press to the joy of the Lord. Don't wallow in a situation. But Satan will make all these things big, right? All these situations big. So you what? Get so distracted on that and you forget about the Lord. Okay. All right. Let's keep reading. Let's read down.
And all the people went their way to eat and to drink and to send portions and to make great mirth, because they had understood the words that were declared unto them. And on the second day were gathered together the chief of the fathers of all the people, the priests and the Levites, unto Ezra the scribe, even to understand the words of the law.
All right. So once again, Levites telling everybody to hold your peace, it's holy, don't be grieved, right? Because once again, the joy of the Lord, all right, and they're bringing their portions to make great myrrh, all right? All these things being declared unto them, okay? So they're getting understanding of how to actually do this. The same thing with the people nowadays, beloved. Some people have no idea with this. I didn't know this stuff, and I grew up in church, right? I didn't know all these kind of things that's happening. So they're hearing it in that perspective, all right? They're hearing this stuff fresh. But look at the spirit between them hearing it and how the world takes some of these things, right? They hearing this and saying, what do we got to do, right? Instead of, oh, I'm not doing that. Oh, it ain't necessary. You know, they're not doing that. They don't have that kind of spirit, all right? If the Lord requires this of us, we want to do it. Can you read them?
And they found written in the law which Yahweh had commanded by Moses, that the children of Israel should dwell in booths in the feast of the 7th month, and that they should publish and proclaim in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, go forth unto the mount and fetch olive branches and pine branches and myrtle branches and palm branches and branches of thick trees to make booths, as it is written.
So remember, when we've read in there, right? Well, in fact, we're going to get to that because you're going to see what they was reading to deal with that. All right. So we dwell in booths. So tabernacles, once again, booth is just like a covering, same spot. Remember, that's where Jacob was what? Succoth, because he made the booths and they dwelled in there. All right. So it's like a temporary dwelling that we're dealing with when we were doing this. All right. So they will set up booths. So they're reading this and saying, okay, so we got to set up booths, and it tells you what they used as well. All right. The law said you go and grab them from here, here, there. Okay. Yeah, keep reading. Finish.
So the people went forth and brought them and made themselves booths, everyone upon the roof of his house, and in their courts, and in the courts of the house of God, and in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim. And all the congregation of them that were come again out of the captivity made booths and sat under the booths. For since the days of Jeshua, the son of Nun, until that day had not the children of Israel done so. And there was very great gladness.
So you see this, beloved? They heard it and they was immediately to apply it. Okay. Man, they said we got to get this stuff. They immediately went out and started grabbing the stuff to make the booths. And they started setting it up in the streets and all that. Right? We go and always limit God. Well, you know, I don't want to, we always, the excuses come first, right? This is where we understand we have to challenge our minds, because this used to be with me. Think about sometimes all the reasons why something can't be instead of the one reason why it can. God wants me to do this. That should be reason enough for us to do whatever it does say of the Lord. What Satan do is he'll throw all these different things of how it can fail. These thousands of reasons why it can fail, why it don't mean anything, instead of the one reason why it means the world, okay? Because our Father said it, and they went and did it, okay? They gather and they set these things all through their place, and the part that stands out to me is Moses, right? For since the days of Joshua, the son of Nun, this is the leader after Moses. Moses just told him to do this in the law, and the next leader later, they kind of fell off. They started falling off a little bit. So since the days of the son of Nun unto the day had not the children of Israel done so. So you ask people, oh, well, why did it turn like this? It don't take long, beloved. I turn from Saturday to Sunday. It don't take long. They just got the law, and the next leader later, they just stopped doing it. You'd be like, why would they just stop doing it? You gotta retain this knowledge in your mind and your spirit. If you don't, just drift off and stop doing it. It don't take long, beloved. This is why we constantly, that's why we repeat the law, repeat it. So we will what? And hopefully it will start to get into our spirit and we will do it. But it's very easy to fall off. Okay, well, nobody else doing it, so I guess I'll just stop doing it, blah, blah, right? Now, there would probably some remnants in there that will still observe it, but for the most part, it's what just fell off. Okay? But when they did it, it says, they didn't do it since then. But look at that last sentence. And there was very great gladness. They were so excited and happy to be being obedient to what thus saith the Lord, beloved. Are we filled with great gladness when we're doing the things that the Most High told us to do? When we come together for the Sabbath, are we filled with joy and gladness because we know we're doing what thus saith the Lord? When we're denying those foods that are not prescribed in the law, are we eating now with gladness because we're eating in obedience? Okay? When we're reading, are you getting happy because you're doing things in obedience? When you coming together today, same day our forefathers and foremothers hearing this and applying this to them, are we receiving it with gladness? If not, we got to check something because something not right in our spirit. Okay? All right, read that last verse.
Also, day by day, from the first day unto the last day, he read in the book of the law of God. And they kept the feast 7 days, and on the 8th day was a solemn assembly according unto the manner.
All right. See, I didn't say anything we did. First day until last day, we what? Reading the book of the law. And I was telling, but eventually I want to get to where we have something set up. I'm gonna make an announcement on Saturday at our church meeting. But now, there's something we do. Read, at least open your book and just in remembrance. I don't care if it's a verse or two. Do something just to kind of keep yourself in that mode. Okay. So they read the book of the law of God. All right. And they kept the feast 7 days. On the 8th day, right? They had that solemn assembly, like we read in Leviticus 23, right? According unto the manner. All right. According to what was written. All right. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23. Right. Leviticus chapter 23. And we'll end there because I'm not going to go into some of the heavier stuff. So we'll kind of end it here. Okay. All right. Leviticus 23, and we're going to jump down to what verse do I want? We're going to just pick it up where we left off in Leviticus 23. So I think we left off in verse 39. So let's go right back to 39. Let's read it from 39 on down.
Also, in the 15th day of the 7th month, we have gathered in the fruit of the land. You shall keep a feast unto Yahweh 7 days. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
Mm-hmm.
And ye shall take on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, boughs of palm trees, and boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your power 7 days.
So you see, this is where they was getting, remember they was saying we're going to grab the goodly trees and stuff like that. They got it from the passage where it was telling you to gather. But look at that last part also. And ye shall rejoice. Okay. So they completed, they're doing it how it's supposed to be done. They're rejoicing in this. Okay. But like I said, if it's not in your spirit, what happens? Eventually you're going to stop doing it like they were doing it. I ain't doing this. I ain't grabbing no stuff. I ain't going to be in no booths. I ain't gonna be doing it's like I ain't doing this, and it just fell off. Okay, but you see, the Most High never told them it stopped and everything. We just chose not to. Okay, and the same thing today. Most High didn't tell us to stop. Well, why don't people ask like, why don't people do it today? And I'm like, well, people just they have the choice not to do something. But the question is, why you not going to do it if you realize what thus saith the Lord? Okay. All right. So let's keep going. Verse 41.
Ye shall keep it a feast unto Yahweh 7 days in the year. It should be a statute forever in your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
All right, because you got to do what? The feast in their seasons. Okay. Verse 42.
You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
All right. So everybody should be dwelling in those booths. Israelites born definitely because what? This was something where we dwelt at when he what? Delivered us. All right. So you should definitely keep it in your mind. Okay. Don't be letting the heathen outdo you with anything. All right. This was, for you. All right. Literally delivered us. All right. So you definitely should be doing this. Verse 43.
That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am Yahweh, your power.
And this
And
was
Moses,
it. I'm sorry, real quick, Malachi. And this was it, right? Because we gonna sometimes we expound and we'll add, adding things to it, beloved. But this was why the original of what Boost is about. That your generation may what? Know. So it's to keep a lesson in your mind. All right, with everything, the Most High is trying to teach you something. The importance, don't lose out on the message that he's trying to give you. Some people going out there, you're going to be doing the boost and then this stuff, and you don't understand the message. It's the why you're doing it. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Yahweh your God. You want to see how effective this is? Ask people about what's the Feast of Tabernacle, what it's about. A lot of them don't know what it's about. It's about your deliverance. It's about how we got delivered. But see, we so far removed. First of all, we don't even think we're the people of God, right? We don't realize what God did for us, right? He tried to give us something so we can remember what he did. Okay? Once again, this thing is a reflection of him and our relationship. He wants this thing to stay in our mind. The 7th day, keep it holy. He wants us to remember that he gave us that day of rest. Okay? So this thing is about a lesson. Our children should know. Even Passover, we say, you're supposed to teach this to your children. They should be knowing about Passover. Right? They should be knowing about Pentecost. They should be knowing about these things because these things have encrypted messages in them. But if you're just looking at them on the surface level, 7 days, we got to go out and, be out there and, not be in our comfy homes and everything. And you forgot the message. The message is the important part. The Most High delivered us. So when we are going through something, beloved, all right? When you're going through those trials and tribulation, when you start to lose hope, you start to lose faith, Satan is distracting you with all these cares and you about to go into that depression and all that kind of stuff. You can what? Think on these things and say, I know God can deliver me. I know it might not look like hope, but I know my forefathers and foremothers was in that same predicament in Egypt. But God delivered them and he will do the same to us. I want every generation to remember that because the day they stop remembering that, we in trouble. And beloved, we can look around and see we forgot. We forgetting the Lord our God and what he has done for us. Last verse, brother, verse 44, and I'll be it, beloved.
and Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of Yahweh.
And he declared it to them. All right. So, beloved, I wanted to keep it there. I'm not gonna, on the 8th day, we'll add we'll put some stuff to it. All right. But the first time, I just want us to understand what the Feast of the Tabernacle is. Okay. For people, we get spiritual and the depth. I want you to understand the basic boundaries of it. The more important part is what? Him bringing us out of Egypt. Okay. All right. With that, we'll end it there. All right. We'll end it there. And like always,